Most amazing seminary teachers, Doctrine and Covenants 115. Thus shall my church be called. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Hey, we're talking about the name of the church and why that's important. In fact, it's non-negotiable. This was so good, I promise. High engagement. It took what normally would probably be a very boring lesson and made it high engagement and fun, interactive, and the kids were with it, and we loved it, and we hit it out of the park. So I hope you enjoy this lesson. I got an activity for students to get to know each other a little bit better. Always building team, connection, community. That is so important. This activity right here is a slam dunk hit. And then I got missionary role plays. And the way I do role plays is a home run. I promise you, follow the little ways I set up my role plays. You will see much more success in role plays. And so be sure to check that out. Hey, I got the Doctrinal Mastery quick review with my students. Open up the DNC 88, read it, talk to a neighbor. Boom. Then I did this sing along. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ. That's right. Have fun with this. It's only like 1 minute. Beautiful sing along. You could do that for opening song or just before the lesson begins. And then I say, turn to your neighbor. And I say, what does your full name mean? Or how did you get your name? And so they turn to their neighbor and ask them that. But before I do, I introduce my name so they can see an example of what I'm looking for. So my name is John Merrill Kirkman. And I use my full name on the socials now because there's only one John Merrill Kirkman out there that I know of. And so it's easier to find me. But John, my great-great-grandpa was in the Willie Hand Cart Company, or was it Martin? I get them confused. I think it was Martin. Actually, I think it was Willie. Whatever one was later. Okay, I feel bad. John Kirkman is 8 years old, Colossus Plains. Okay, so I'm named after John. And now there's John, and my son John, and my grandson Johnny. Okay, so then there's Merrill. That's my great-grandfather, Mariner Wood Merrill. Hey, give me a comment below for relatives. Mariner Wood Merrill was the first temple president of the Logan Temple, and that's my great-great-grandfather or great-grandfather. I don't know. But anyway, Merrill, that's my middle name. And then Kirkman. Kirkman comes from like England, and it means churchman. Go figure. Churchman. That's me. John Churchman. Right there. And I am a churchman. I've been teaching seminary for 29 years. I got a podcast called Walking with the Savior. I interview people about Jesus Christ. And I got a seminary YouTube channel. I mean, I am church man. So the importance of a name. Go ahead, tell your neighbor, what does your full name mean? How did you get your name? And sometimes it's just like, oh, my name. My mom heard my name in a kid's book, and, that's what she decided. Okay, great. You know what your last name means? Nope. Okay, go home and ask your parents what it means. Anyway, have a little conversation about that with their neighbor. And I didn't take any responses from the class because I didn't want to spend a lot of time right here. But hey, speaking of your name, did you know your name is officially awesome because you are awesome? And if you're a seminary teacher, you're a hero for showing up day in and day out. Thank you so much for what you do. What's in the name and the logo? A to Z and a smiley face. We ship everything from A to Z, right? FedEx. If you look close, there's a little arrow right there. Kind of like, we'll get it from here to there, And then BMW, this is blue and white. This is like the propeller. It's actually a German company, and they started with airplanes in World War II. And so that's kind of a token of their history. And then I said, okay, what's the emphasis here? And why is Jesus Christ bigger? And then this girl raised her hand and says, because Jesus Christ is bigger than everything else. And I thought, it's a perfect explanation. And what are we trying to convey in our name? Now, this lesson can help you feel the importance of using the correct name of the Savior's church. Little background right here. And the Joseph Smith relocates to Far West and shortly after receives this revelation in January 1838. Up until that point, they'd use variations of the Church of Christ, Church of Jesus Christ, and some different names. And this is when it becomes finally official. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And at this point, Mormons becomes a hate word in Missouri and pretty much all the places they've lived. Nauvoo. So we kind of just adopted this name Mormon, but President Nelson really clarifies that, right? Okay, this is where this activity comes in. And this is what do we call this? Talents, hobbies, sports interests survey. And I just give the kids about 3 minutes, fill it, circle and highlight the ones that are connected to you or relate to you or you love or things like that. And so I give them 3 minutes and they're just through highlighting these things. And then it's got carpentry, auto repair, home improvement, electrical work. There's also baking, cooking, graphic design, architecture. Anyway, the idea is they just go through real quick. Now, once we've got that filled out, now when we rotate students, we are going to share with our teammate, and I give them 1 minute. So we fill this out. Then I say to your teammate, okay, go ahead with your teammate, find things that you have in common. Find the ones you have in common. And they sit there with their paper, and they're sitting right next to the neighbor, and they're looking at their paper and go, oh, you got some over here. What do you got? Then I say, put your teammate's name next to one thing you have in common. We're trying to build that community, that connection. Maybe we don't know that this student who we've never connected with before, maybe we totally both like fishing. And it can open up a whole new friendship group when you start to see the things. And so this is an awesome list. I love doing this. And this could be used multiple days, because like, for example, today we go through it and they went through it with maybe 5 or 6 students. And maybe that's your whole class. In my class of 30 students, they could use this multiple days, right? So I have them fill it out. Then I say, okay, with your neighbor, 1 minute, find what you have in common, write down their name next to one. Now we go into the scriptures activity, okay? Now with your teammate, read verse 1 through 4, mark the name of verse and verse 4. Why do you think Jesus Christ wants to refer to his church by its name versus Mormon, right? And so they talk about that with their partner. And then I say, can you explain the name? And here's a short explanation. And you can read that from Elder Ballard. And this becomes important because as a missionary, I can't recount the times how many times I explained the name and phrase by phrase. And this is just one explanation, but there's other ways of saying it, right? And so when we have opportunities to express our name, this might come up. It's like, what does that name mean? So that's what we're going to practice today. And this is, then once they're done with that, then I say, okay, rotate. And I say, give your teammate a high five, tell them they're awesome, rotate, and rotate. So I have rows like this, and I just have one row move up a seat. One side. They're in pairs, they're sitting in rows, and I just have one person move up in that row. I say, like, person on the right side, move up one seat. And then the front person moves over here or moves to the back or however you do it. But just have one side move and then move to the side over here. And then this person might move back and then over here, kind of snakes around. It's just that one side of the row of 2. And anyway, they're pairing up now. And they're asking their neighbor, and I got a timer, 1 minute. Find out what you have in common. Write down their name. Okay, so I'm going, Tommy, what do you got? Okay, do you like skateboarding? Do you like hunting? Okay, and so we come up and then we write down their name next to one. All right, perfect. And then we go, okay, to the next activity, which is, okay, now that we read Elder Ballard's, now can you try to write it down, an explanation for yourself? Write out an explanation of each phrase so you are prepared to explain it to someone of another faith. Boom, perfect. They do this. Give them about a minute. Now, share with your teammate. They share with their teammate. And then I have them read this quote. Take turns reading every other one. And it's right here on the page, right there on the study page. Study page, PowerPoint, always in the show notes for you. And I just say, read every other line to every other, paragraph to your neighbor. Take turns. No, I'll read number 1. You read number 2. I'll read number 3. Etc. You get through that, and then I say, okay, what blessing did President Nelson Promise. Make sure you highlight that. Tell your neighbor what you highlighted. Simple like that. And then why do you think he says the name of the church is non-negotiable? Talk to your neighbor. Let's hear a couple responses as a class. And then just emphasize the blessing. He will pour down his power, right? I love that. Okay. Now, clap, snap, high five, rotate, or just quick high five, rotate to your teammate, and they're rotating. Now with your new teammate, boom, go through this again. And this makes it so fun. This really makes it so fun. Just having this little pause of talking to your neighbor, getting to know them, and building connections, writing their name down. I had kids going, okay, what was your name again? Even though I thought they knew their names, you know what I mean? And then they're learning how to spell it. And so it's so good. Building community is something that we always have to be working on in every class and gathering in the church. I'm a fan of community, and we do that by talking to each other. So don't minimize it, say, oh, we don't need that. I believe it. And this little variety brings a little spice to the class. Tony Spice. Give me a thumbs up if you know what that is. Okay, Tony Spice. And that's from, okay. How can the Lord bless those who strive to use the correct name of the church? So this was a beautiful little 1 minute, I think, story, 1.5 minute story. So you are Christian. Oh, beautiful. Then I'm going to create a scenario, situation. Now, that right there, yep, that's my little daughter. Excuse me, big little daughter. She's a missionary right now in Livermore, California. Give me a comment if you're in Livermore, California. Look for my daughter, give her a high five, and tell her she's awesome for me. Okay, so here's the situation. You were traveling with your family. You meet some new friends and quickly become friends. New teenagers quickly become friends. After a while, they ask you the question about where you're from. Then one of them asks, are you a Mormon? You say, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But say it like this when you're reading it. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And have a big smile. Yes, your kids will think you're weird, but who cares? We are weird for righteousness. They then say, why is your name so long? What does it mean? Right? Could we see this as a real possibility? Yes. So forgive me for putting all my daughter's pictures in here. But I'm like, we're doing missionaries. I need a picture. Instead of getting one off the internet, I'm going to put my daughter's pictures in here. If you got a missionary, go ahead, put your son or daughter in there. Hey, celebrate the fact, right? I'm so excited to see my daughter again. She comes home in like 4 or 5 months. Oh, let's go. Okay, now, this is how we do role play. Missionary situation, okay? And if you just spell it out for them like this, it works so well. Friend, are you Mormon? Missionary, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ. Friend, what does that mean? Missionary, explain the name. See, we just did it right here on the paper a few minutes ago. Now we're going to actually use that. So I have them in pairs, right? And I give them 1 minute, but this part of it only needs like 40 seconds, just giving you a heads up. And so I say, okay, want to use a friend? Want to use a missionary? You decide. Ask your neighbor, you want to be the friend first or the missionary first? And then they just do it. And then I say, okay, friends, raise your hand. When I say go, you're going to say, are you Mormon? And then they're just going to keep going right there. Okay, so you kind of set them up, and it's just kind of putting it on a tee. Boom, hit a home run, right? We're giving them practice. It's so good. And so they do that for 45 seconds on this slide. And then I say, okay, great job. Tell your neighbor they did a good job. Tell them they're awesome. And then I say, okay, the other person ready to be a missionary? Okay, missionaries, raise your hand. Who's going to be missionaries this time? Raise your hand. I'm walking around making sure they're doing a good job. They're on task. And then I say, okay, friend, when I say go, you're going to say, are you Mormon? Ready? Go. And they go, are you Mormon? Let's do it. Perfect. So good to get this practice. Boom. We high five our neighbor, give him a compliment, move to the next neighbor, right? Rotate. Then we go 1 minute. Let's find out what we have in common. Write down a name. Now let's go back to our next activity. Here's this little video. The name was given by the Savior. mic drop. Boom. Yeah, and I love that. You just mic drop. So now we're going to go to another missionary example. And I'm just adding to it. Now they're working with a different partner, hopefully, if you got enough people in your class. And by the way, when I have a odd number of students and that person doesn't have one, I jump in and they teach me or I teach them or we take turns, just like the rest of the class. So I go, friend, are you Mormon? Missionary. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ. Friend, what does that mean? They have to explain it again. Missionary. Explain the name. Boom. Friend. Who decided to name your church? Missionary. Boom. I'm just going to put answer. Right there. Right? All right. I'm going to make that green. I like to color code it so they can just kind of find it easy. Find it easy. Boom. Right there. Okay. I forgot that one. All right. So then they're going to say, okay, this time you got a little bit more. So I'm going to give you a little bit more time. Maybe 55 seconds this time or 50 seconds. All right. And they do it with their neighbor. Perfect. Boom. Okay. When you're done and you don't have them switch, you have that timer. Boop, 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 boop. So at the end of that minute, okay, now let's switch. If you don't do that, you'll have kids where you walk up to them and they're like, we both did it. It's been 30 seconds. Yeah, well, we both did it. Okay. So you have to say, don't switch. At the end of the time, I will switch you. Okay. And then you go, okay, friend, who's going to be the friend this time? All right. You ready to go? When I say start, you go, friend, go. Boom. Are you a Mormon? Okay. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to high five our teammate. We're going to say, you're awesome. You did a great job. We're going to rotate. All right. After they each take a turn and they rotate. Do the interest survey. Go down. Now we got this story. Now, this one's a little bit longer. It's like 2.5 minutes. But I stop it right when he says the name of the church is non-negotiable.
Counsel of the Lord as humility and sacrifice expressed gratitude. The name of the church is not negotiable.
So right there, about 125, you can stop it right there. Now, if you got a little bit of extra time, you can watch the rest of it. But I was trying to save time to get through the rest of these. Okay, so now we're going to do our missionary activity. Yeah. And right, why? And I make it a little bit more real. And they don't even know it, right? But I make it a little bit more. Why did you choose to be a member of that church? You see, I'm getting them to share their thoughts about being a member of the church. And I say, be real when it comes to this. I don't want you to be faking it. Just be real. What are you thinking and why are you feeling? Hopefully you can say something a little more than my parents make me go. But if that's it, then be real, you know. And this is where they can really practice sharing their thoughts about why they're a member of the church. And so I just add that. So you want the full minute for this right there so they can share their thoughts about why they want to be a member of the church. Okay? Clap your neighbor, give them a high five, tell them you're awesome. And then there we go. With a new partner, find your interest, give them 1 minute. Boom. Keep those to 1 minute. Now we go to the rest of the verses. I want you to read verse 5 and 6. What phrase stand out to you in these verses? How does the Lord desire to bless his people around the world through his church? And okay, so with this, I give them just a minute, read it, mark it, talk to your neighbor. And then I just kind of talked a little bit right here. And here's what I wanted to make the point is that we are to be a light. And that may be a standard. Now, the standard is the rallying point, a flag, and the signal to gather together. And the idea is that we're supposed to stand out different, like Christ, so that others will want to come. And the way to be like Christ is to be kind, to be caring, to be friendly, be service-oriented, to do things to help the situation be better. To be the person in class that makes the class better, to be the person at the school that makes the school better. That's what we are supposed to be so that others will want to gather with us and ask us why we are different, because we should stand out in kindness, building people up, love, and friendship. And if we're not doing that, we're missing the whole point of the gospel of Jesus Christ, because we should be more like Christ. Now, to convey that, I have this story from last conference that just happened a couple days ago, but this one right here. Do you have the RMN ethos? And at the end, he talks about, are we being like Christ? And I love that, right? Now, I didn't have a lot of time, so what I did is I played this directly from YouTube. If you play it from here, you can't increase the speed. I played it directly. If I copy this link, play it in YouTube, and then you can watch it at 1.5 speed and just speed it up just a little bit. And then right here, I said, okay, find a quote from your conference page that demonstrates what a Jesus Christ ethos is and how we should reflect and model our lives after him. Now that we are connected to him as connected covenant members and disciples of Jesus Christ, it is really about him. So they find a quote. And then if you have time, you might not have time for this last missionary opportunity, but the missionary opportunity now is, friend, are you a Mormon? Da, 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 da. And down right here, what do they teach members of your church to live like? Because sometimes, people aren't very kind in the world. What does your church teach about how we should live? And that's where they're going to share a quote from the conference tweet page. And if you didn't get the conference tweet page, it will be linked in the show notes. These were quotes from General Conference. I'll have a link also to the video that explains that, because that was a super powerful tool. I hope you had that. And it's something that we will be referring to, hopefully, most lessons from this point forward till next conference. Now, the last thing is on the page. What will I do to live 1% more like Jesus Christ? 1% more like Jesus Christ, because I am connected to him. Take just a sec, write some things down, and then share with their teammate if you want to share with the class. There we go. We are connected to Jesus Christ, so we need to live like Jesus Christ and adopt his ethos, just like that gentleman adopted Russell M. Nelson's ethos. Well, we are really practicing these youth, training these youth, how to respond to these missionary situations that happen all over. And I'm just so excited for this lesson to spread throughout the country. Seminary teachers all over the country sharing this lesson, training their kids to be more powerful witnesses at explaining the name of the church. What good could ripple effect through the world? Whoever does this lesson that spreads being able to explain the name of the Church of Jesus Christ, and then feeling a desire, hopefully, to represent Christ as we've taught in General Conference. Well, my friends, don't forget it. You're awesome. You're amazing. You're loved. And have a great day. You got this.